Have you ever noticed how many Scandinavian lifestyles seem to focus on staying active and eating well without constantly talking about dieting? Instead of extreme food rules, everyday routines often make movement and balanced meals feel like a normal part of life. Food is enjoyed without turning every meal into a calculation of calories, forbidden ingredients, or guilt. At the same time, walking, cycling, outdoor activities, and practical daily movement can naturally become part of the routine. These habits don't guarantee a particular body shape, but they can create an environment that supports healthier, everyday choices. If you enjoy practical Scandinavian lifestyle ideas, subscribe to Habit Archive for more simple habits that can make everyday life easier. Walking is often built into everyday Scandinavian life instead of being treated as a separate workout. People may walk to shops, transport, school, or nearby errands. Those short journeys can quietly add movement throughout the day. Walking also gives people time outside without requiring special equipment. Over weeks and months, ordinary movement can become much more consistent. Staying active doesn't always have to look like exercise. Cycling can serve a practical purpose as well as provide physical activity. When a bicycle becomes part of transportation, movement happens without needing a separate workout session. People can cycle to work, shops, or nearby appointments. It can also be a simple way to spend more time outdoors. Practical movement is easier to repeat when it is connected to something useful. The bicycle becomes part of the routine rather than another obligation. Scandinavian meals often focus on foods that feel satisfying rather than endlessly snackable. A meal may combine vegetables, whole grains, protein, and healthy fats in a way that feels substantial. Feeling satisfied can make constant grazing less appealing. The point isn't to make food restrictive. It is to build meals that actually feel like meals. When food is satisfying, people can enjoy it without needing to keep searching for something else. Another difference is that enjoyable foods don't always have to be treated as forbidden. Bread, pastries, and desserts can still appear in a balanced lifestyle. When food isn't surrounded by constant guilt, people may find it easier to enjoy a portion and move on. One meal doesn't need to become a failure. The bigger picture matters more than perfection. A flexible relationship with food can be easier to maintain than constant restriction. Home cooking gives people more control over what actually goes into a meal. Scandinavian households often prepare simple food using ordinary ingredients. Homemade meals can also make portions and ingredients easier to understand. Cooking doesn't have to mean complicated recipes. Even simple meals can provide a more balanced alternative to constantly relying on convenience food. The habit is more about consistency than culinary perfection. Healthy food becomes easier to choose when it is already prepared and easy to reach. Scandinavian kitchens can make vegetables visible, washed, and ready to use. That reduces the effort involved in adding them to a meal. Fresh produce can become part of lunch, dinner, and snacks without requiring much thought. Convenience isn't always unhealthy. Sometimes the healthiest choice is simply the easiest one to grab. Water is usually a normal part of everyday meals and routines rather than something remembered only when someone feels thirsty. Keeping water nearby makes drinking regularly much easier. A reusable bottle can travel from home to work, school, or outdoor activities. This simple habit also reduces dependence on sugary drinks. It isn't a complicated wellness strategy. Water simply becomes the default drink often enough to feel automatic. Cold, wind, and light rain don't automatically cancel outdoor movement. Scandinavian routines often adapt to the weather rather than waiting for perfect conditions. A walk can still happen with the right clothing. Outdoor time then remains part of life across more of the year. This keeps movement from becoming dependent on perfect sunshine. Consistency can matter more than ideal weather. A short walk after eating can become a natural part of the evening instead of another formal fitness routine. Families can walk around the neighborhood after dinner. Couples may use the time to talk and unwind. The movement is gentle, social, and easy to repeat. It also keeps people from immediately sitting down for the entire evening. A small routine can make daily movement much more consistent. Everyday meals don't always need to be oversized or highly complicated. Scandinavian households can keep ordinary portions and simple dishes as the norm. This makes daily eating easier to manage without constant decision-making. Large celebrations can be different, but on normal days, food can remain simple and satisfying. Consistency is often easier when meals feel ordinary. Snacks don't always need to become mini desserts or highly processed convenience foods. Fruit, yogurt, nuts, or a simple sandwich can be easier everyday choices. Keeping snacks straightforward also makes portion sizes easier to manage. The goal isn't to ban treats. It is simply to keep everyday snacking practical. Simple foods can become the default without much effort. Constantly grazing can make it difficult to notice when a meal is actually enough. Scandinavian routines can leave clearer space between meals and snacks. Food is eaten with intention rather than simply because it is always within reach. That doesn't mean ignoring hunger. It simply means not every idle moment needs a snack. A little structure can make eating feel more natural. Coffee can be part of everyday life without becoming a vehicle for constant sugary extras. Scandinavian coffee breaks often focus on the drink, conversation, and the moment itself. A small pastry can still fit naturally, but every coffee doesn't need a large sweet treat attached to it. This keeps the ritual enjoyable without making it overly heavy. Sometimes the simple version is enough. Small movement choices can quietly add up over the course of a normal day. Taking the stairs instead of an elevator can be one of those simple choices. It doesn't require changing clothes or scheduling a workout. The effort is brief, but repeatable. These tiny decisions help keep movement connected to daily life. Fitness doesn't always need a dedicated appointment on the calendar. Family time doesn't always happen around a television or dining table. Scandinavian families often combine time together with outdoor movement. Walks, hikes, cycling, and simple nature trips can become social activities. Children get to move while parents stay active too. This makes physical activity feel connected to connection and fun. Movement becomes something people share, rather than something they have to force. Buying lots of special diet products can make healthy eating feel complicated. Scandinavian kitchens often rely more on ordinary foods that already fit into balanced meals. There may be no need for a cabinet full of special bars, powders, or replacement products. Familiar ingredients can do most of the work. This keeps food simpler and shopping less confusing. Healthy habits don't always need a special product attached to them. Seasonal eating can naturally change what appears on the table throughout the year. Fresh produce becomes part of the menu when it is available locally and tastes good. Colder months may bring more soups and warm meals. Summer can bring lighter dishes, berries, and outdoor meals. This creates variety without requiring constant novelty. Food changes naturally with the calendar rather than forcing the same menu all year. Exercise becomes easier to repeat when it is connected to other people. A walk with a friend can feel like social time rather than formal fitness. Families can cycle together. Couples can hike together. Even simple errands can become opportunities to move and talk. Social connection can make active habits much easier to maintain. Portion size matters even when the foods themselves are nutritious. Scandinavian meals often focus on serving enough without automatically filling the largest plate available. People can always take more if they are genuinely hungry. Starting with a reasonable amount can reduce unnecessary leftovers. It also makes meals feel less excessive. Portion awareness can be practical without becoming restrictive. A healthy lifestyle doesn't have to revolve around checking a number every morning. Scandinavian routines can focus more on how people live than on constant measurement. Movement, meals, sleep, and energy can matter alongside body weight. This can make health feel like a long-term lifestyle rather than a daily test. Numbers can be useful in some situations, but they don't need to control every food or activity decision. Sleep can influence hunger, energy, and how easy it feels to make sensible choices the next day. Scandinavian homes often create calm evening routines that support regular rest. A comfortable bedroom and predictable bedtime can be more useful than another wellness product. When people are well rested, movement and meals can feel easier to manage. Rest is therefore part of the lifestyle, not something added after everything else. A healthy routine needs recovery as well as activity. Perhaps the biggest reason these habits work is that none of them has to feel extreme. Walking, cooking, eating balanced meals, and spending time outside can simply become normal parts of life. When healthier choices are familiar, They require less willpower. There is no need for a dramatic restart every Monday. The routine keeps working because it is ordinary enough to repeat. Long-term habits usually matter more than short-term intensity. So the Scandinavian approach isn't really about discovering one secret food or one perfect workout. It is about building ordinary routines that make balanced choices easier to repeat. Movement becomes part of transportation, meals remain satisfying and enjoyable, and outdoor time doesn't disappear when the weather changes. Sleep, social connection, and simple home cooking support the routine rather than competing with it. None of these habits guarantees a particular body shape, but together they can create a lifestyle that supports everyday health. The biggest lesson may be that you don't need to make health feel complicated before it can become part of your life.